is up, my totally offensive army and random YouTubers alike? Back again for another video reaction, and this video isn't going to be like my typical type of reaction video. This one's more on the subject of mental health, and I'll be honest here, I'm not really a huge Adam Calhoun fan. I do appreciate his comedy, I appreciate his drive and his work ethic, I love how he brands himself. However, like, he and I differ in views politically, and that doesn't mean that I'm going to say he's a piece of shit or a bad person. I'm not one of those social justice warrior types of people who start using all these creative buzzwords like transphobe, homophobe, ableist, bigot, racist, whatever. No, I'm not doing any of that. So he's just got a more pro-government stance than me. I, for one, have no idea why Taco Bell gets 21 cents out of every $3, or why the government gets 21 cents out of every $3 I spend at fucking Taco Bell, because that's no one's business but mine. Okay, yeah, that's a little fucking weird. And sometimes Adam's a bit flippant with his political views. I mean, one month it's pro-government, pro-Trump, and the next it's defund the government in terms of the economic stimulus package. COVID was a hoax, and then Adam got COVID. So, like, it's been a back and forth type of thing this year for him. And I can understand that sometimes, things are different when you finally experience them firsthand, especially with that COVID. I get it. So, we all change, we all evolve, and as we get older, our opinions change, and that's just part of it, man. Experience is the world's greatest teacher. With that being said, this video is called I Hope This Helps Someone, so let's go ahead and get into it and check it out, shall we? I mean, it's about mental health. I think we can all agree this year that we've all struggled with mental health and had both, like, emotional and physical ups and downs, for sure.
If you were to tell me, Adam, you're going to live your life with anxiety and depression, I'd be like, ooh, wow, I got that. That's easy. But having it is a whole different situation. Hi, friends.
New intro. Okay.
That's the hi, friends you get today. This is a serious video, and it's not to help me. It's to give awareness and hopefully to help somebody out there. It's something that I struggle with every day. This is real life me. I ain't doing this for pity. I don't want prayers. I don't need the comments to say get better, Adam. This is for me to get better. This is for me to help anyone who might be going through similar things, to try to help them get better and let them know they are not alone. Okay, so let's go.
Right.
So what I suffer from, the doctors say, is a panic disorder, anxiety disorder. Now, me saying that, I'm supposed to be this big, tough, strong, physical guy, but I also have a chink in my armor.
See, that's one of the things I don't like about the United States in general, is the social stigma we place on men and the overall fantasy that we place on men in general, that they're not supposed to be able to emotionally express themselves or have breakdowns. As a man, if you've ever sat on the edge of your bed in the morning and had that sense of never-ending dread, and when it comes to going to a job that you fucking hate and you loathe and you can't stand, yeah, dude, that'll bring you to tears. Like, when you fall short of being able to support your family and you bust ass all month long and you're still $300 in the hole, that will bring you to tears. When you let down those you love, that will bring you to tears. And the idea that we as men have to go ahead and hold all that inside and just internalize it and bottle it up until we eventually explode or do something stupid, it's fucking sickening. I don't agree with it. I think it's complete and total bullshit, man. Every man has the right to break down, whether you do it privately or publicly. Shit happens. You cannot control how you feel from one minute to the next. You may believe you're in control, but that's merely an illusion, because there are various external factors in the world, millions upon billions of them, that can influence everything from how you feel to what you eat to what you buy to what you do every single day. And you just kind of have to learn, and have self-awareness of who you are, so you can go ahead and deal with the days as they come. That's pretty much how I do it anyway.
As I think most of us do, and mine is, I don't just get like, oh my god, I'm having a fucking panic attack, Becky. I get like, I need to go to the hospital right now,
Yeah,
call an ambulance, I'm having a fucking heart attack, vision gets like this, chest pains,
Yeah.
tingles, I get like, I could be sitting on the couch fucking watching TV and boom, out of nowhere. The further I go in this
See, there's this little thing in the back of your brain, and it's like basically your reptilian part of your brain. It's like comes from an old evolutionary process of human beings, and that controls your fight or flight response. Essentially, just think of it like you have a peanut in the back of your skull, and when that peanut engages, it's through external factors that are influencing your behavior. Ergo, your chest is going to tighten up because you might, be having to run. You're going to feel hypersensitive all over because your hair is going to be standing up. That is an actual biological response that is supposed to make you look bigger. Once upon a time, according to evolution, when we were cavemen, we were hairy as fuck, right? And so basically, when we were, feeling alarmed or we were feeling threatened, we'd get goosebumps and that type of thing, and hypersensitive skin, and our long ass caveman hair would stand up, and we'd supposedly look more intimidating, right? Yeah, there's a lot of things that go with it. The clammy hands, the heart palpitations, the rapid pulse rate, the way your perception of time is altered and things like slow down or supposedly slow down. It's all due to various hormones, especially like adrenaline, cortisol, and that type of thing. These are like response hormones, stress hormones, and they play a vital role in how you feel every single day. And if you have panic disorder, or you have like general anxiety disorder or post-traumatic stress disorder, you're going to feel the effects of these hormones in large quantities every single day of your life almost. There's people who have like intermittent PTSD, and there's people who have like chronic PTSD and that type of thing. When you have generalized anxiety disorder, anything could set that shit off. Yeah, man. Panic disorder, it's a real thing too. Like, you can panic at just the slightest thing or the slightest external factor in your environment.
Career. I can't believe this is a fucking career. I actually used to work for a living. This is a different kind of work. It's mental work. It's people talking about you all the time bad, and then you focus on the bad, and you see all this shit online and the media, what they feed us, and with social media, it's like engulfs your life, and it has affected me. I think it's taken a part of my soul, creating all this content, showing my life, every aspect of my life. And what am I doing right now? I'm stripping completely down and showing you this. Guys, I suffer from some type of mental imbalance. I've played football since I...
Okay. The thing with social media and the thing with creating content all the time and that type of thing, I said the word thing an awful lot there, is that you have to kind of bare your soul, because real recognizes real. Your ability to relate to your audience is what makes your audience want to watch you. Because there's a lot of people out there who go through life on autopilot just trying to get through their day, and they just want to know that someone out there understands how they're feeling. They just want to know that someone out there understands enough to make them laugh, or to go ahead and give them something else to think about, or that someone else has been through the same traumatic upbringing and experiences that they have. Because, I mean, we as human beings are kind of like herd animals, man. We're social creatures, and the thing about, being social is it's easier to be social when we can all relate to one another. And so, like, when you create content like that, having the ability to relate to people and, make them laugh and make them think about things is vital. It's important. Otherwise, you just got some boring ass YouTube channel or some song that sucks. Ain't worth listening to. I get what he's saying.
I was 7 all the way through high school. I wrestled since I was a kid. Damn. And I boxed since I was 11 years old. These are all contact sports, and I still boxed all the way up until you're looking at me right now. And I think I've had a lot of damage done. But this is something I've been dealing with since I was 18 years old. Real quick, I'll tell you a real quick story what happened.
Okay, so you're saying that, like, he's played contact sports while growing up and things like that, and he's been hit in the head repeatedly, and he could possibly have some signs of damage or like some type of neurological or chemical imbalance just from the head trauma of being repeatedly hit in the face or hit in the head through boxing and contact sports. I get it. What's that syndrome? If anybody's actually going along with this video right now, in the comments, that football players get when they get a bunch of concussions, there's some type of syndrome or something. Will Smith did a movie on it that was almost considered taboo by Hollywood and like most of the fucking NFL.
I was 18 years old. I'm laying in my bed. It's like 2 in the morning. I had a boom, boom, like a hiccup, but it was in my heart. I felt my heart like skip a beat, right? I didn't know what that was. Boom, it does it again. And I go upstairs, and all of a sudden, bang, I'm telling my heart starts speeding like 180 beats a minute. I knock on the door to my mom's room. I tell my mom what's going on. They call an ambulance. I'm in the ambulance. They're rushing me to the hospital. I'm 18 years old. I'm a fucking athlete. and I'm not on drugs or nothing like this.
Right.
I asked the ambulance driver, or the fucking paramedics. I say, "Am I gonna die?" And they both looked at each other, then looked at me and said, "We can't answer that, bud." And I never felt so helpless in my life. Now, fast forward to now,
Dude, I did this one time in the middle of CVS, as a matter of fact. I was going through like a stressful time in my life. I was actually on the verge of getting divorced from a woman I had no business marrying. If you've ever been young and married and then it ended immediately in divorce, like within 2 years of the marriage, like even taking place at the altar there, yeah, it's just one of those things, man. When you're young, you're ill prepared to deal with what life is going to throw at you. You don't have the tools emotionally to understand what you're going to be dealing with in your future and that type of thing. And I was in CVS, and my wife at the time had told me that she wanted a divorce. And all of a sudden, tunnel vision. My face turned like bright red. My temperature went up to 102. My heart rate became like 160 beats per minute. And I fainted in the middle of the fucking CVS drugstore over what's probably California 6 and Indiana 4 of a woman who basically just wanted me to go ahead and give her a bunch of money so she could live out her dreams while I sat at home and didn't get to nurture myself creatively or become anybody worthwhile whatsoever. Yeah. I remember riding in an ambulance when the EMTs picked me up and put me on a gurney when I was in CVS. I remember riding in an ambulance. I asked them to give me a piece of paper because I was going to write some type of last will and testament and write goodbye to those I loved and tell them how much I love them and just kind of absolve them of any issues we might have had that we hadn't yet worked out. And then I remember putting that piece of paper down and being like, man, fuck these people. Like, I am not trying to go ahead and have some type of deathbed a bonding experience or some type of like deathbed guilt over problems I've had or disagreements I've had with people. Like, I'm trying to live right now. I want to actually do something with my life, and I'm not trying to let some girl that I fell in love with in high school for all the wrong reasons, titties, pretty much dictate how I'm going to live my life or make sure that I'm depressed every single day. So yeah, I had this weird moment. Went from CVS to an ambulance to the hospital, where all of a sudden I started out anxious as fuck, then mad as fuck, and then I had a moment of clarity when I was like, I should probably just go ahead and become a fucking man one way or another and get some type of higher education and get a skill set and try to figure out who I want to be and what I want to do with my life, rather than put all my faith and hope into a loveless, shitty marriage.
I know what that was. I was having palpitations, and
Been
it
there.
spun out of control into a severe panic attack. This shit is fucking crippling.
I got
This
you.
is the worst. It's like you're in your own prison in your mind. And no, and if someone else was telling me what I'm telling you guys, what I'm going through, I would look at them and be like, bro, get over it. It's in your fucking head.
It's kind of is, but it kind of isn't, because there's like a quicksand effect that takes place when you initially start having an anxiety attack. I mean, all of a sudden you'll notice an increase in your heart rate, and then you'll feel jittery inside, and then you'll start having these racing thoughts that are almost circular. They race back and forth to the same illogical patterns. Like, things just don't make sense in your thought processes, and you start having an immense sense of dread, wanting to get up and immediately just flee from whatever location you're sitting at or standing at or whatever and just take off. And the thing is, when you'll start overthinking it as well. Like, you'll be like, why is my heart beating so fast? I'm having a heart attack. You'll be like, why am I sweating all over? Why does my head all of a sudden start pounding? Do I have some type of cancer? Like, is someone coming after me? What the fuck is going on here? And you'll start thinking yourself into these corners that you cannot get out of, and then everything will just escalate from there. The rapid heart rate will increase. Okay, the sweating will become like, you'll start sweating more profusely. The twitching and the trembling, you'll start fucking like getting really into it, almost like an epileptic, and you won't be able to control your motor functions or how you feel. And eventually, it's just a matter of letting those chemicals that cause, these anxious reactions to just kind of burn out. You can't stay anxious forever. Like, you may think you can, but eventually you're gonna fall asleep. You're going to run out of all of the energy that makes you anxious, and you're going to calm down. But the thing is, when you're in the middle of all that, that's not what you're thinking about. You're thinking about, like, where the fuck can I go and hide? Or who do I got to fight? Or, like, where can I run to for some type of safety? Or something or other. It's frightening as fuck. It's scary as hell.
Get over it. And so that's what you guys are constantly seeing me doing. You're constantly seeing me running. You're constantly seeing me lifting weights and training. I'm doing
Right.
all this. I'm reading. I pray. And all these things I'm constantly doing because that's what I need to do just to get through the day. Plus, you know, the all famous bag. This keeps
Oh, the bag. I'm curious about the bag. Okay. All right. I've heard about this bag. I've heard people talk about this bag.
my medications. I've been on the two same medications since, and other things. It's you know, we got the Xanax, Klonopin, paroxetine,
Jesus.
you know, a fucking a beard brush.
Okay.
Just got a little bit of it's not deodorant, it is Versace.
That's
I
what's
take
up.
that bag everywhere with me. Just
See, the thing is with some of these meds too. I don't know if you've ever experienced mental illness to the point where no meds have worked for you, but I'm that type of person. A lot of the stuff they prescribe will have more side effects than benefits. Rather, some of it will go ahead and cause like delayed ejaculations or no ejaculations at all. It'll make men impotent. A lot of it will make you feel pretty much like you're emotionally sterile, like you can't feel anything at all and you're completely numb. Others will slow you down until you feel like you're walking underwater and you're just going through life feeling like you're living in a fishbowl and unable to relate or communicate to anybody around you. With some of his, like Xanax, a basic benzodiazepine, comes in like multiple different milligrams and dosages, like per most medications would. Xanax also comes with some withdrawal symptoms after prolonged use, and then a hangover the next day if you're not careful. And coming out of a Xanax hangover, it also will give you anxiety on top of it. So people sometimes get stuck in this cycle when depending on benzodiazepines where they'll have a hangover the next day and then take more of it to try to get out of it and then they become addicted. Or they'll go ahead and they'll take it and they'll experience anxiety as a side effect. Because all of our body chemistry from person to person is not the same, right? So some of the things that may calm someone else down will actually cause someone else anxiety in a completely like different list of side effects. Now, Klonopin, same thing. Those double stacks, woo boy. You have a bad day and someone give you a Klonopin double stack, you'll melt into the furniture for sure. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to sleep for the next 18 hours. Like, these are some heavy duty mood stabilizing agents he uses. So obviously he's got a pretty severe form of like panic disorder that he deals with every single day. And my heart does go out to them for this. Like, once again, we may not agree in terms of politics and all that, but yeah, dude, I know what it's like to be mentally ill. I live that life every single day. I have post-traumatic stress disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. He keeps a little bag with a beard brush and some Versace.
in case I have one of these attacks. I run at the hospital just in case I have something wrong with my heart. I'm right there.
Oh,
I'm
I've done
afraid to
this.
go live my life and go on vacation, take a break, go somewhere away, go down to Nashville, see my buddies, hop on a plane to go across the. I'm afraid to do these things. I'm
Oh,
telling you
man.
guys this because
When I was younger, in my like early 20s or so, when I first started exhibiting signs of post-traumatic stress disorder, because post-traumatic stress disorder isn't like typical other disorders out there, and that it's just a varied range of some symptoms that can be controlled with medication or something like that. Essentially, what happens is you endure some type of mental trauma or physical trauma or both, and then your body waits till a time when you feel safe, secure, and everything else, and then it drudges up those memories, those chemical hormones associated with those memories, and lets you go ahead and pretty much cycle through and live out all that stress that you were supposed to be living through in the moment. There's a survival response your body goes through when you've gone through something traumatic where it'll shut down. You'll have gaps in your memory. You won't be able to describe what's going on around you sometimes, and you'll just block the shit out. And then with PTSD, sometimes it could be years later, and you'll be just reliving that shit as if it were yesterday and you were fresh in the moment. A psychiatrist I went to one time said she had a man who had a final breakdown around 88 years of age about his mother dying when he was 7 years old. The guy had never had any real thoughts about his mother, never really grieved over anything, and all of a sudden, 88 years old, he has an entire psychological break from reality and just starts losing his shit with classic PTSD symptoms over the death of his mother. Like, this shit happens, man. The human mind is real complex. I was in a psychiatric institution with a guy one time, and he was studying to become a doctor. He was hotshot type of guy. Photographic memory, genius, had already completed his residency and stuff like that. And his like second night that he was pulling ER duty, one of his best friends was rushed in on a gurney, and his body was like burned. 90% of his body was burned. His best friend had crashed a car. The car caught fire, and then his best friend couldn't escape the car, and the flames consumed over 90% of his body until he eventually died. And then that guy who was well on his way to becoming a doctor, his mind, to cope with the trauma of seeing his best friend lying there looking like a charred piece of chicken, extra crispy style, just completely went ahead and deleted everything about him being a doctor. It just locked it away, and he just became someone who had to have a to-do list, a list of reminders to brush his teeth and put on his clothes, and to make his meals every single day. Like, trauma does some fucked up shit to people, and your emotions and your feelings do even more fucked up shit. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
I know that other people go through this shit and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to fucking talk to. So hopefully me saying this shit out loud and people looking at me as something which I'm not, I am no fucking idol or whatever. But there are some people that...
No, I respect the hell out of him for doing this. Like I was going back to my early 20s, I think I went and admitted myself into the hospital like probably 80 times within a year because I was exhibiting classic signs of post-traumatic stress disorder. But the thing is, a doctor's not going to tell you if you're mentally unstable. A doctor in like the ER or something like that is there to tell you whether or not you're going to live and if you need treatment. If you're afflicted by something, they're not really going to tell you that, oh, you have post-traumatic stress disorder, you have generalized anxiety disorder, you're bipolar, you have borderline personality disorder, you have dissociative identity disorder. They're not going to tell you any of that. Essentially, they're going to tell you, hey, you're either going to make it or you're not, and if you need treatment, here's how we're going to treat it. You may have to stay a while, and that's it. So I didn't know I was going through classic signs of post-traumatic stress disorder. I must have went to the ER 80 sometimes, was like, my heart's going to explode, I'm sweating all over, I think I've got cancer, I think I've got a brain tumor, I'm going to have blood clots in my toes, I don't fucking know, man. And yeah, eventually it just boiled down to the fact that I was mentally ill. That's the thing.
Look up to me, and you know, if I can help them in any way, yes, the tough guy, the big me, I am crippled by this shit, and it
You're
hurts.
not crippled.
But this is the thing.
This doesn't affect who Adam Calhoun is as a person. He may think it does, and this may give him more moments where he doubts himself. He talks about how he feels like basically institutionalized in his own town. There's a thing with people who deal with mental illness, and that they seldom want to travel, they seldom want to stray from where it's comfortable, because they have a routine, they have a comfort zone, they have a support system of people around them who care about them. So when they travel outside of that, they feel like anything that's going to go wrong will go wrong, and the anxiety just ramps up like 1,000-fold. I've been that type of person, and I make sure like once a year I do something drastic and travel somewhere weird I normally never travel to. Last year it was New York City. I walked through Central Park in the middle of the night and smoked doobies with the homeless, and then headlined some comedy clubs. That was dope as fuck. Most of the comedy clubs, I think, weren't too bad. I did alright at the shows. I had more fun at the bar shows though.
I don't give up. One thing I always wondered in my life is how the fuck does someone commit suicide? That's crazy to me. Like, why the fuck would you do that? That you're hurting. You're not even really hurting yourself because you're gone. You're hurting all the people that you left, right?
Okay.
Dealing with this, I can now see how someone would kill themselves. I would never. I do not want to do that. That's not what I'm saying. But I can understand now why the unrelenting, just the waves crashing against you, and it's
exactly
just
how
when
it
is there
feels
going
too.
to be some peace? And what I end up doing is digging this hole so fucking.
He's got a point too, because it feels like you're getting stuck in quicksand when you're having a depressive episode. You're sitting there and you're thinking the worst about everything. You're having like lethargy, fatigue. You don't have the get up and go, the motivation, the drive to do anything. You're just basically swirling around in this black miasma of dread and sadness, and you're thinking about everything you've ever possibly done or how you look, and you're thinking that none of it's good enough, it's never going to be good enough, and that tomorrow is just going to be another day where you still feel the same way you do right now. And so naturally, you just want to go ahead and exert the only form of control you have, and that's taking your own life. I get why people do it. As a stand-up comic, some of the funniest comedians I know are some of the most depressed, tormented, emotionally tortured inside type of people you've ever met in your life. I've seen it multiple times. And myself, I go by this motto that, like, a therapist told me one time. He said, if you're depressed, wait 20 minutes. And I said, why? And he's like, because maybe you won't be. And I was like, well, what if you're still depressed 20 minutes after that? He said, wait 20 more minutes. Eventually, like, what he was trying to say to me, and when I was being too stubborn to realize at the time was, it will fade. You just kind of have to ride it out. As much as you want to go ahead and, go down the street, not across the tracks, by the way, you kind of have to just sit there and be like, this is a moment that will pass. Like, I may think I'm the ugliest person in the world who hasn't accomplished a fucking thing, and that I don't even have the right to breathe, but eventually that moment is going to pass, whether it be tomorrow or the next day or months from now, it'll eventually pass.
Deep and putting so much pressure on myself that I can't get out of this motherfucker. When people tell me they're depressed and shit, I'm like, really? Get over it. I can help everyone around me. I'm helpless to help myself.
That's the thing. We all are.
I have all these people.
I respect the fuck out of him for saying he's helpless to help himself too, because that's the thing. You can look at someone else and they can tell you their problems, and you can be like, you could have just said no to the person who's making you feel that way. You could have redefined and evaluated your social circle. You could have cut that toxic relative out of your life for good. You could have went ahead and not called that ex after a few drinks, or you could have went ahead and not slept with that person. And like, this all seems like, night and day to us. This all seems like to have a huge veil like of transparency and clarity, that we easily understand what's wrong, how someone else lives their lives. But when it comes to us, it's the insecurity that plays a part in it. It's the depression, it's the anxiety. It makes us double think and triple think ourselves into a corner and question everything we do time and time again until we're so unsure of ourselves that we can no longer help ourselves. Sometimes, man, the best way to get over something like that is to focus on yourself and nobody else until you have the energy to focus on other people again. Because if you don't take care of you, then you're no good to take care of anybody else. God, I identify so much with Adam Calhoun right now. It's stupid.
People around me every day. I have all these people telling me how awesome I am every day, online, in person, people I meet, just every day. I'm so great. I have all these people that look up to me, right? And I am the most loneliest, most miserable. I have all these things, everything I can ever dream of, all this money.
Yeah.
And none of that shit it doesn't mean shit.
Okay.
If you don't have peace of mind, if you don't find happiness.
Dude, this is like the best year I've had financially. This Christmas alone, I spent like $1,000 on basically just like children from low income families and the homeless and that type of thing. Some people have contributed and chipped in on that as well, but then I still have money left over in the bank. And at the same time, I went to these family gatherings, and I still had never felt so alone in my life because I'm not on the same wavelength as most of my family. I'm not really on the same wavelength a lot of time as most of my friends. And with the way my videos have gone, how my social media has risen lately and stuff like that, I was actually thinking about doing a video here later on in the future called text people send me when they see me at the grocery store but don't want to approach me. Yeah, the name needs work. It's not that catchy. But it's actually weird that my social media presence and like the shows I've done in my like Tri-County area have gained enough notoriety that when I'm out and about now, people see me, but they're hesitant to approach me, so they send me messages on my social media being like, I saw you buying noodles. And I'm like, I have no idea how to take that. I'm not sure if you like me or if I'm being stalked or if you want to punch me in my face. And at the same time, I don't know how to relate to that because I am socially awkward. I could be the life of the party one moment and be sipping beers, doing keg stands, wrestling with some dudes out in the yard, like throwing some fucking heel hooks, and then the next minute I could just be sitting there feeling hopelessly alone, like my entire social battery is drained and I just want to go the fuck home. That's one of those things, man. You can always accomplish a lot in life but still feel heavily alone, like people just don't understand how you feel and like nobody gets you. I get I've never related to someone so much on the internet right now than I have right now. That's just like I'm having trouble articulating it into words.
Happiness, you're fucked. I am damaged and I'm trying to figure out why. And guess what? most people in life that you don't even know their story, they are going through something. It might not be as severe
Right.
as others. This is fucking severe. I can't. It's severe enough for me to make a.
Dog, you see that transition? He had to stop the camera and like actually collect himself before he talked more. Hold on.
Most people in life that you don't even know their story, they are going through something. It might not be as severe as others. This is fucking severe. Yep. I can't. It's severe enough for me to make a fucking video about it, and I'm gonna get through this. You gotta go through the darkness to get to the light, right? Things happen in my life that maybe I don't think about. They're maybe in the back of my head, but it took time to fuck me up. It's gonna take time to unfuck me. Here's a soundbite for some haters.
Here's something that I want to go into before we have the soundbite. Like, I guess from what I know about Adam Calhoun, his father died when he was younger of like a massive heart attack, and since then, whenever Adam has moments where he's feeling anxious and stuff and it gets too bad, he thinks he's having a heart attack. My father died of pancreatic cancer when I was 13 years of old. 13 years of age. We didn't have much of a relationship. The relationship we had was him teaching me how to box. And by teaching me how to box, I mean punching me in the face a lot when I wasn't looking. You feel me? And so I didn't have the world's greatest dad. And then I had an alcoholic dad. And then I watched him die alone on the couch in his underwear. And he went from being like 6 feet tall and 250 pounds to being 5'7" and weighing about 135 pounds after his pancreas was done being ravaged by cancer and all his organs shut down. Like, the man was a shade of jaundice that was frightening. And here I am, a 13-year-old boy with these fresh eyes in the world, naive to the way the world works and unjaded by life. And I'm watching my father slowly deteriorate. And I had so many mixed emotions about that. This was supposed to be my hero. This was supposed to be the man who was going to guide me through life and be there for my pivotal moments, like, you know, my driver's license, getting my driver's license, having my first kid. I haven't had kids. Yeah, go me. You know, getting married. All the things you want your parent to be there for. And then mine wasn't there because he was a piece of shit to himself. But at the same time, he was a piece of shit to me as well because he couldn't handle the pressures of life. He drank his problems away, and when he was drunk, he didn't remember what he did, but he became excessively violent. And I was oftentimes, you know, the punching bag for his violent outbursts. And it wasn't something I could control, it was just something that happened. And I had to make peace with that. Like, the man probably loved me, yeah, but he just wasn't well equipped emotionally to get through life. He didn't have the intelligence. He had a good work ethic, but he didn't have a lot of opportunities, and he made a lot of self-sabotaging decisions that weren't good for him, and his liquor was the way he resolved that. And after watching my father die in such a way, on the couch, in his underwear, deteriorated, 130 pounds, 5'7", you know, I used to have these horrible hypochondriac transferent type of reactions where I think I'm going to get cancer now. I'm going to die like he did, surrounded by nobody. Now I'm going to go ahead and, you know, deteriorate from a couple 100 pounds down to nothing, and then I'm going to have my organs shut down and fail, and I'm going to look like so yellow it looks like a fucking nicotine stain on the couch. Like, you know, that was something I struggled with for years. It took 8 months of therapy for me to basically be like, well, I guess I should probably be okay with how I die because I'm not going to end up like my father. I mean, it's not, you know, if I don't live the same life he did, then the odds are that I'm not going to die exactly the way he did. And it took me 8 months of intensive therapy, including like EMDR and hypnosis, to understand that. I think with Adam, it's also probably the same. He watched his father die of a massive heart attack, and now he thinks on a daily basis he's going to experience that same heart attack and leave behind his son and his family and his fans, and there's nothing he can do about it. I mean, I think his anxiety is somewhat based on a perpetual countdown in the back of his mind that heart attack is coming one day, and it will take him from this earth, and he won't be able to help his family anymore. And that's a horrible thought to have, but man, to be honest, he could go out tomorrow and get hit by a bus walking across the street. It's just one of those things. Like, you have to make peace with the fact that eventually we're all born, like, we're all going to die. We're all born to die. Tomorrow, you'll be you'll be dying a little bit more than you were today. We're all deteriorating daily. Wow. I've never related to a video so much in my entire life. Never.
My name's Adam Calhoun, and I'm a little fucked up, you know? And there's mornings that I wake up in the middle of my sleep and I'm having an episode.
Been
I'll
there.
drive to the hospital. I'll sleep in the hospital parking lot.
I've done this,
You know,
like
and
8 times.
it's everything from that to sitting on the couch watching a movie or something, and boom, it happens. You know, it comes out of nowhere. The best I can explain it, it's like fight or flight, right? Like
Yep.
you're doomed, impending doom. Like
Yep.
something bad is about to happen, and it always targets right to this thing. Some of you might not think I have one of those, but I actually do.
Yeah.
Anyways, listen. This is not a pity party for me. I hope this fucking helps someone because I'm trying to help myself every day. I'm doing something, okay? I want you guys to know that, hey, that guy, he's fucking dealing with that. I want to know that I'm not the only one that's alone too.
The
Anyways,
ability to
guys,
relate, man.
I love you. This is gonna turn into my new room for YouTube, except I'm gonna actually set it up, desk and all the plaques that really don't
You didn't even show the room though. It's just I just see some colored. All right, fine. I'll wait. I'll have patience.
mean shit, and but they're kind of cool. But the guys are out of this space, and this is in my basement. We got the warehouse now, so this is where I'll be doing my videos. I actually like it down here. I love you guys. I hope this helps somebody, and also, fuck you, man. If you were to tell me.
Fuck you, Mike. Okay, yeah, you punk bitch. All right. No, this is just. I love the fuck you, Mike, at the end. If you know the story, you know the story. And if you don't, go find his videos until you know the story of Mike. Fuck you, Mike. All right, guys. Yeah. I don't know, man. I saw a little bit of this video and I was like, I bet you there's some shit here I can relate to. And as it turns out, I've never related so much to a video in my life. And who'd have thought it would be an Adam Calhoun video? Like I said, I appreciate his music. I appreciate his humor. I don't always appreciate like how his views change from like month to month on certain things and that type of thing. And the in-depth stance on some politics. Fuck politics, man. After what 2020 has put us through this year and everything else, the political spectrum is like the last fucking thing I care about. I don't believe there's ever been a such thing as an honest politician. I truly believe the government will fuck as many people as they can fuck until you're like rich and crazy and can avoid it. And we're all never going to be rich and crazy. That's why they call it the richest 2-3% of the world. Just one of those things. Alright guys, if you like this video, feel free to go ahead and throw me a thumbs up. And if you didn't, hey, it's long. It's just me talking about how I can relate to someone in a video. It's me talking about how I can understand Adam Calhoun. Like, I don't think a lot of you have the attention span to stay here for the whole video. But if you did, I appreciate it. And if you thumbs me down because of it, I also can relate to that as well. Alright guys, I'll post the original video link in the description below. I'm going to go have a beer now and think about my life. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, so until next time, all I'm saying, I'm out. Who knew? And I'm Calhoun. Felt the same way I do about shit. Wow.